my goodness, friends, how are you doing? Let's talk about what is going on here in the market. So obviously tomorrow I'm excited. I'm thinking there might be some pullback here. I don't know. Trump just came out and said he supposedly found a buyer for TikTok, so that might do something with some things this week. Obviously the gossip, the whispers in there with certain companies that have been wrapped up in that. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Gonna be a short week in the market, obviously, because we got a holiday coming up here, which is obviously 4th of July. Get the fireworks going. Let's talk about Robinhood and let's talk about Sofi. And these are two stocks that obviously on the thumbnail I said I was wrong. There is two things that I was wrong about both of these companies, but really the stocks more or less. The companies, I love what they're doing, but we'll talk about that too. So, I don't have a problem with either of these, so this is not a video where I'm busting them up, breaking them down in a sense of trying to be bearish on them. Not whatsoever. I think these are the next generation of banking, of investing, all of that jazz. And I think that, one thing that you're seeing, I do see this because I see it in my own personal life too, where these two stocks, especially, this is where the older investor meets the newer investor. I think there's a older generation that look at Sofi and they look at Robinhood that are essentially banks. We'll break it down. I know somebody's already foaming at the mouth. We'll break it down. But what I mean by that is that they're just not your traditional they're not really doing brick and mortar, is that the right word? Buildings, that's not, they're more, just on your phone, out there, just transactional banks, but they are phenomenal nonetheless. So first, let's go into, the quarterly situation with both of these. So what I was wrong, and I'll say this both with about these two stocks individually, Sofi, and I've said this before, one thing that I was wrong about Sofi here, I've been preaching about Sofi for years now, but, at least, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, I was so sure that Sofi was going to be at a $30 stock by July of 2025. And we haven't. I apologize. We've fallen short. Now, obviously, Sofi has been doing good as of late, but the market has taken some turns. We went through the DeepSeek stuff. We went through tariffs. We went through the WAR stuff here, and now the market has broken all-time records again. Now we're in this new level of, well, let's watch and see what happens. I'm expecting pullback, but we'll see what happens. So Sofi over the past, since, coming out of the Cove has had a beautiful, track record here. I mean, you cannot ask for a company that is pushing more into, opening more accounts with new customers, revenue increasing dramatically, especially the last 3 quarterlies are just solid. But I mean, even before that, they've just been doing great. Phenomenal stock. Like when people ask me, that I meet or individual, like friends, family, whatever, meeting people, they always ask, what's something that I should put my money in? What's a safe bet out there? If I really want to build up something into the next, 5-10 years, or, so make a Roth IRA for my, myself, or even I've had people ask me like for the kids. And I always say Sofi. Sofi is one of those companies where I tell people I feel really comfortable about the future with Sofi 100% because of their technology, them as a bank, what they're doing, and just the utilities that they provide just for their app when you download. I'm telling you, if you are an investor with Sofi, open an account with them. It's free. It's easy. You don't have to put any money into it. But when you download their account, you will see why they're growing so fast and so big right now, because it's so simple. It's so easy. It's so everything right there in front of you. You can do credit, check your credit right there. You can invest in stocks. You can transfer money here, there. Now they're getting into crypto. Loans, applications, just credit cards. It just everything right there. Most banks aren't doing that. I bank with some very well-known banks too, that don't offer a lot of stuff, even, their app compared to Sofi. So Sofi is really ahead of the game, and that's why the younger generation is really pushing into Sofi 100%. So you have Sofi just with this beautiful track record of quarterlies. Amazing. Now, obviously, we'll break down some more stuff there. Then you look over here at Robinhood. Robinhood, bumpy. But obviously Q4 of 2024, they broke into $1 billion quarterly, and everyone went, holy freaking smokes. Now the last quarterly here, the newest one, of Q1 of this year, fell back down a little bit. Still phenomenal, but, obviously selling off a little bit. The thing with both of these companies now, going into Robinhood here a little more, we've got quarterlies coming up here in 38 days that will be showing themselves. Robinhood is playing around this, very high mark, probably going to go into a $100 position here sooner than later. But Robinhood is doing phenomenal. So now you have, and here's the devil in the detail. This is the line down the sand with both of these companies right now. Like I said, I'm not trying to say anything negative. I think the future for both of these companies is phenomenal. But what you have right now, you have one that is really strong in this area that the other one is trying to get to. So it's vice versa here. So Robinhood right now, Robinhood started as a trading platform. I would dare say everyone has a Robinhood account at this point, and Robinhood's solid, man. Robinhood's great. It's fantastic, especially and Robinhood's another great trading platform. When people ask me like, what's a trading, when they're trying to get into stocks for the first time, what's a trading platform that they should look into? I always say Robinhood because it's just so easy. The last thing I tell them is like Webull, for God's sakes. That's the last thing I tell them. But Robinhood is so simple, easy. I mean, just it reminds me of Sofi with their banking system. It's just clear, clean, and easy. Anyone can do it. So you have Robinhood here who is in this whole new range of revenue. Fantastic, great. Expectation has been getting out of control. It's more than likely going to keep this 80 range, going to 90, going to 100, just off expectation alone, because we know the future is broad in what they've announced. Robinhood, like I said, started off as this trading platform. Now they're going into what they kind of already were, a bank. This is what they're focusing on now, going into banking, this digital bank, much like what Sofi has been doing heavily here, really pushing into the last 5 years, longer than that now. So you have Robinhood, who has already this huge, strong pillar in trading for the Robinhood app, their trading platform, and people making accounts with them. Now they're offering, they've been offering bank cards, they even more so now. So now you're seeing Robinhood really push into this sector. Okay, great. More money. Fantastic. More people are getting into Robinhood. Okay, numbers are growing. So you have Robinhood, who's already well advanced into the trading area, okay? But they're pushing into the bank system. They're pushing into, I guess we're talking about loans. We're talking about all this kind of stuff in the future, stuff they're going to push into more. Going to Sofi. Let's talk about Sofi here. Sofi, this is a stock right now that is, I still think $20-$30 is coming somewhere in this year. I highly would be shocked at this point if Sofi did not close out 2025 at least $25. I would be unbelievably shocked at that situation if it did not happen, especially with the momentum of the market right now. Okay, with that, I think short term here, probably, a lot of this month, seeing what's gonna, filling out this month here, obviously talked about July. I would not be surprised to see Sofi find a new bottom. And that's good. That's great. If the new bottom is somewhere in these 14s to 15, I think 1580 could be the new bottom with Sofi. Fantastic. Now, the new highs will be in the 19s to $18 range here, which is phenomenal once again. But, Sofi too is going into quarterlies here in 30 days. So I expect this next quarterly just to be another fantastic quarterly. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. They've been getting a lot of partnerships that have been accruing here since last year. I mean, it's just been nonstop with these partnerships, these loan applications, all this stuff they've been doing. Okay, so it should come out well for them here on all of the quarterlies, really the rest of the year. I mean, there should not be a lack in quarterlies. It's just kind of the argument more, I think, is how big are the quarterlies going to be from here on out? Can they get to $1 billion? Can they get to $1 billion quarterly here by the fourth quarter of 2025? it's a big push, but hey, I mean, look what Robinhood did here, last year. SoFi, you have on the opposite side of what's been going on with Robinhood. Robinhood has been pushing into, started as a trading platform. Now it's pushing into this bank sector, getting, pretty hot over there with that. Okay, SoFi has been, obviously they started as a loan program, and that's one reason during COVID they took I remember during COVID, there was talks of like maybe SoFi is going to go out of business. Like SoFi was like releasing emails when COVID was going on, like, hey, things are rough over here. This is this and that. And of course the government put student loans. They put student loans on hold, so SoFi wasn't receiving money from that, and SoFi stock at the time was like $20-$25, and then it bled down to like that $3, $4, $5 position there for quite a while. But the company has really remarkably changed gears here and went into this beautiful bank, which I pretty much was, but it's really pushed into that sector more. So now you have SoFi, who has made these very strong pillars as a bank, with loans, car loans, pushing into the younger generation, credit cards, everything. And just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful situation to be a part of for you as a younger, as a young investor in it, because it's a young stock still. It's very much in a very much youthful stage of where it's at compared to where it's going to be. SoFi has already been building this huge pillar of a banking system for them. Now, with SoFi, when you have an account with them, you can also buy stocks. They offer that. It's not as good as Robinhood, I will fully admit. Robinhood is, it gets no easier. It is so, a hot knife through butter. It's so good. SoFi still offers it 100%. So you have these two heavy-handed companies. One's very strong over here where the other one's not, and then the other one's strong over here where the other one's not. So that's pretty much what's going on there in a nutshell. Like I said, I love both these companies. I think they're very much going into the future. Now, obviously, these are not your normal Wells Fargo, Bank of America, American Express, just all the big banks that are bringing in 20, 30, 40 million dollar quarterlies, every 3 to 4 months. They're not there yet. It's going to take some time. But, even something like SoFi, we know SoFi, so young as a banking company, it's pushing into the younger generation. And what do we know about the younger generation? Okay, here in the future, very short-term future, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they're going to be spending a lot more money. They're going to be buying houses, more credit cards, loans, maybe more student loans, but personal loans, business loans. This is how SoFi really pushes into them bringing in revenue. They're going to be making savings accounts. That's more money going into, SoFi's accounts. So this is how banks get very much in the realm of these bigger quarterlies here. SoFi doesn't even have a dividend attached to it yet. Neither of them do. But, SoFi, I say this with SoFi more because it's more of, it's 100% bank at this point. SoFi is still in a very youthful, affordable position right now. I don't think it's crazy to say at all within the short term of the year here that SoFi could be a $40, $45 stock. I think that's coming here, especially seeing where the market's going here. And two, one thing that we know is going to jump bank stocks is when Jerome Powell's out, or they do rate cuts here sooner than later, maybe July here they do one. SoFi is going to go nuts. SoFi is going to go freaking ballistic. So with that, I do think you're looking at a situation right now where both these stocks have huge potential in the future. 100%. And, and I don't know if I said this, but the one thing that I did make a mistake on with Robinhood, it's simply that I didn't buy enough of it to where I saw that it was going to eventually come out with this news of being a bank 100%. And now, obviously, there's still a lot that they're doing with this. This is still they're chiseling away at this, construction on this. But, look how fast SoFi really just built up themselves. You're talking about 3-4 years. I remember, a year and a half ago, we were buying SoFi at, $6, $7, $5 on a really bad day. Now the stock is sitting around the $17, $18 position. It'll probably bleed off here a little more. I'm expecting to pull back in the market because the market's been running so hot here. But all in all, I think these are tremendous times to be an investor. I think there is so much opportunity with AI, with the newer banking system that is unfolding with crypto, with younger generation of banking, and your brick and mortar kind of banks. They're not going to go away anytime soon, but technology will always win. That's what we've seen here, and it will always get the attention more of younger generation, and there's more and more of them every day. Okay, so I do think that. Absolutely, 100%. The zeitgeist, the moment, the expectation, the chum in the water is already on SoFi and Robinhood, 100%. So that right there is pushing a price into it as well. Friends, I want to wish all of you the best of luck. I think there is multiple ways that these stocks are going to continue to grow into the future, and I'm excited about what's coming tomorrow. Let's see how this market does. Short week, so it's going to be a heck of a get what you can here week. Friends, take care of yourself. Bye, everyone.